Hello Moment friends, Andeng here making a prediction video for update 18 regarding the story. If you don't want even a suggestion of what might happen in the update 18 story, then turn away now. This video is not for you, but if you're interested in what might happen or extra details on some things that you might have forgot, then stay tuned watching this video. So, Update 18 is shaping up to be the most epic, the most compact, the most devastating story that we have ever had in LOTRO. Update 18 will be depicting the Battle of Pelennor Fields. This battle is going to have so many people die. It's going to be the largest battle that we have ever seen in LOTRO. Way bigger than Helm's Deep. Also, it's going to be the culmination of multiple volumes of the epic story. A lot of characters, spoiler alert, will be dying in this update. A lot of characters that we know. A good amount of the Rangers will be dying, most likely. A large amount of the people that we know from both Rohan and Gondor will probably be dying. Remember back to the end of the previous book to the epic story in update 17. Spoiler alert, by the way. There was the false dark timeline, the horrible ending that had heroic Denethor through the Palantir. And it had a good number of people die. That is going to be absolutely nothing compared to the devastation at Pelennor Fields. This is going to be the most loss that we have ever had in LOTRO. It's going to be incredibly devastating what happens. It's also going to be incredibly triumphant because there's going to be all these great things that happen that we're excited about, and it's going to be great. So, Battle of Pelennor Fields itself obviously starts out with the charge of the Rohirrim, I would say, and then a whole bunch of other stuff happens because it changes from the siege to the battle at Pelennor Fields. It turns from the focus on the city to what happens in the field. And obviously, as we can see in this promotional image from LOTRO's website, which I will have linked in the description, we can see that the Dawnless Day is finally going away. And we are going to see Minas Tirith without the Dawnless Day, presumably. And that's very exciting. I don't know how much of a promotional image this is, but it's probably a good amount. We will then be going off to fight at the shores, apparently, as well, because that's part of the battle instances. They're not epic battles. They're actually instances, but they're combined with the scale of epic battles, but they still have the fun gameplay of instances. So we can see here, there's Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, which, as you know from the books, that's what happens, and there's also the Sons of Elrond that join him too. And they basically start to turn the tide and, eventually help make things awesome. There's no ghosts that come, or, wraiths, or whatever you want to call them. They were already released, if you remember, in the story, so that will not be happening. That was a movie fictional thing that they changed from the original lore. If you notice, there is also patches of bright sky in this as well, which is super awesome. So we'll be having both of those things happen, and it should be absolutely amazing. There's going to be just some fantastic moments. One thing to note is that to experience these moments, you do not have to do the instances. There will be solo instances that are made for the epic story, similar to the normal story solo instances that we have, that will be going through telling the story of these events without having you to get a group together and go through the instances, but apparently you may be still able to do them at that time, but there will definitely be solo instances for you, so you don't have to worry about that if you're wanting to do it solo. So that's great. There's, going to be this huge battle. There's going to be a lot of loss. And it's going to be the culmination of multiple volumes, storylines, all coming together in this one fixed point. This is going to be a huge huge moment. And there's simply no two ways about it. It's going to be just amazing and epic and fantastic and incredibly sad all at once. These huge amount of emotions, even more so than we experienced in the films and probably even the books, because we have made ties with so many characters. We have relationships with so many characters in this game. It is ridiculous how many friendships we have made through LOTRO. And if you think about the amount of people that are going to die and the amount of people that we know that are going to die, we will actually know more people at this battle than probably anyone else. It's going to be incredibly devastating. Incredibly devastating, I imagine. And it will be very interesting to see how Turbine ends up depicting this battle, how far they are going to go into making it be a very somber time. If you remember back at Helm's Deep, there were those huge mounds of bodies and stuff like that, but it wasn't that emotional because we didn't lose anybody that we knew. They were just masses of annoying NPCs that were in the epic battle that you didn't necessarily like and wanted them to probably die anyway. Here, we're dealing with NPCs that we've made stories with and gone on adventures with and done tons and tons of things, and they are going to be no longer in the game. They are going to be dying and leaving. Absolutely crazy. So, here is a blown up version of the promotional image. One thing that I'd like to point out is that Horn is 2 to the left of Theoden. He is almost certainly going to die. Almost certainly. I find it very interesting that he is actually so close to Theoden after his backstory. I mean, if you think about all the crazy things that have gone on and all the rules that he has broken, and yet he is so close to Theoden King in the charge, is absolutely amazing. I'm guessing he's going to have a real heroic moment since he's so close to the king. And as some of you may know, this is another major spoiler alert. From the books, we have a pretty good idea that, assuming that this is the same Horn, he's going to die. He is going to die. And that is going to be incredibly emotional. Things that I'm wondering is, where is Cordain? Where is Nona? Obviously they're not going to be charging here. What is going to be happening? How are they going to find out? Is that going to be incredibly emotional? Almost certainly. It will be very interesting to see what happens there. I haven't even gotten into the whole gold deer and the crazy wraith that is from the Blast from Our Past from Volume 1 and all that stuff. There are so many ties that are coming together in this story. It is going to be absolutely amazing. It is going to be just beyond... It's going to be beyond anything that we have ever experienced in LOTRO by far, because we know so many people that are not going to be around anymore. We have multiple years and years and years of development leading into this. I cannot think of any other game that has had anything like this, where there is going to be so much development with so many characters all ending all at once in a single battle. It's going to be amazing, absolutely amazing. There is going to be so much going on. It is going to be crazy. Absolutely crazy. And supposedly the epic story is staying free, so even if you do not like the additional price of the new area, which you can watch another video I have about that, you should still be able to experience this story, which is awesome that they have done it that way. Obviously, Theoden is going to be dying, no question about that. Well, unless they change the timeline, but I highly, highly doubt they will. They already had their fun doing a fake change and then realizing that it was Palantir-induced. So, the King of Rohan is going to be dying, and that alone is going to have a huge emotional impact on everyone in this battle, and we're going to be dealing with all of that that is going on and trying to figure out how to manage everything there. And that might not even, it'll be interesting to see where they put the cutoff on the story because they also have the entire new zones that we have to go to get the Rohirrim. And so there's going to be a lot of story there. It will be very interesting to see where the story breaks off with this update. How much time we are going to spend post-battle learning of what happened, or if that will not be until a following smaller update, kind of similar to what happened with the flooding of Isengard back in update 13, where we had the crazy battle at Helm's Deep, and then there wasn't too much resolution. Some of that was saved for update 13. It will be interesting to see what happens here. Another thing I would like to point out is that way over on your right, there is Glewine. Now you're saying, Andang, we know you're obsessed with Glewine, just move on. Well, there's actually an interesting thing here. Glewine is going to be writing, assuming they stay directly with the books, he's going to be writing a song that is about basically Theoden said, this was going into Helm's Deep. He said that if I die, then you need to write a story about my death, essentially. You need to write a song about my death and be singing it and doing that sort of thing. I assume that his debt was filled after Helm's Deep. But I am guessing that he is going to feel the need to continue that debt when Theoden eventually dies and will be writing that song. And that is actually, according to the books, the last known song that Glewine had ever written. And so there's a good chance that this will emotionally traumatize Glewine to the point where he will no longer be a person who is writing lyrics for songs. He will no longer be a written minstrel. He might still be singing and doing things like that, but he will certainly not be writing new songs. And so this is a very traumatic experience for him as well. If we look on the other side of this, there's really no... I mean, obviously this is like, the main Lords of Rohan. There's no people that stand out really. It's mostly just on this side. And so it will be very, very interesting to see what happens. Turbine is going to have the chance to kill off or save so many of their characters. It is absolutely amazing. And just trying to keep track of all of that, I can't even imagine. And then having to... I don't know how they're going to handle this much loss. Because it's very, very rare for a story to have characters to this degree, have that large of a number of known characters. It's very, very rare that this is dealt with. Because we not only have the Rohan side, we also have the Minas Tirith side to deal with, and how they're going to be dealing with all that loss, because there's all of these heads of towns that will be coming over as well. And then there's also the fact that this is not the end of the story. There's still the battle at the Black Gates, and then the events that follow that. And so, how long can they really mourn for the dead? I imagine will be a plot line, maybe not in this update, but probably in the next one, where there's this idea that we need to move on. We have to go and, give time. And so this is going to be an incredibly emotional update, I think. I think this will be the most emotional update we have ever had in LOTRO. This is the culmination of years and years and years of story, especially when you consider that Volume 1 events are coming back to haunt characters in this update, and that is going to be a huge thing as well. There are so many aspects to this update. It is going to be absolutely ridiculous. There's Volume 1 ties, there's Volume 3 ties, there's Volume 4 ties, there's characters from all of those volumes all coming together in one spot. I can't emphasize that enough. It is going to be an incredibly amazing update. It will be very interesting to see how Turbine handles that number of people, which I know I said recently, but I'm trying to make this point that it could become very annoying to continue to mourn all these people. It could become meaningless at some point because of the sheer amount of loss that it's impossible to relate to being not actually there and not actually, knowing these people. So it will be very interesting to see how Turbine handles all of these things. Let me know in the comments below what you think will happen with Update 18. If you are looking forward to it, all that stuff. I will tell everyone that there are spoilers in the chat of this video as well. So feel free to put in all the things that you think might happen and, bring in book references, whatever you want to do. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the story of Update 18. Regardless of what happens, I think it might be LOTRO's best story that it's ever had. There has been so much building to this moment. If they handle it right, it could be absolutely amazing. And so I am looking forward to its eventual release on Tuesday. We are just right around the corner. It will be very interesting to see what happens, and I can't wait to share it with all of you. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for more content. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button below. And if you'd like to see more of my daily content, feel free to subscribe, and you'll be notified when that new content comes out. And also, if you'd like to help support my channel and help me continue to create high quality videos, feel free to support me on Patreon, and you can get all sorts of great rewards in the process. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again real soon for another video.